Wasteland by Brent Faiyaz. It
Mhm.
is also a very long album here, which we'll be getting into in moments. 19
19
songs, an
songs,
hour and
an
four
hour and 4.
minutes. You thought I
Yeah.
was gonna not have it up, didn't you? You thought I was gonna
Yeah.
have
After a second, I was like,
yeah.
"Oh, do I need to do it?"
Nope. Um, Brent Faiyaz has kind of taken the trap and B world by storm as of late,
Mhm.
and this is his third album. Wasteland comes at a time when pop, the sound of pop is changing, it's evolving very much, and I think the production here delivers. I also think
Yes.
that Wasteland is an album that is very, very bloated. But where there are good features to be had, and it's a very feature light record, they're some of the best features I've heard from some of these artists in a while. Yeah, I'll put Drake included. I have not liked a Drake
Really?
song that has come out recently since Wasting Time. And that's more or less because of the Neptunes feature, I'd say. But I think it's a time where Drake is met at his frequency and it's like a lot more tolerable than a lot of different things. And yeah,
We have different opinions on that, which is interesting.
I'm very, very curious. What do you think about the album? And then we can go whenever you want to into the Drake one.
Yeah, so well, the record I enjoyed. I agree with the record of I feel like it is bloated at times, but there's a lot in here I really enjoy. Thought the first two songs, "Villains," "Themes," "Loose Change" started off the album pretty well. I really like "Gravity" with that has like several features, I believe. Yeah, DJ Dai and Tyler the Creator. I thought that was
Yes,
good.
sir.
Some of like the little skits and interlude things I don't like. So like example, right after "Gravity," you have "Hear Your Heart" interlude, and then you have an "Egomaniac" skit. Those two you don't really need to put there because I really like "All Mine" a lot. I like how it just you have this really cool sample and things that are played through, and I like how you're adding a little extra things to trap and be with it. Enjoyed that song a ton, but you didn't need those two little filler interlude tracks before it. It just felt like it threw it off a little bit for me. You have "Piece of Fame" after that, and then you get to really, really good feature of "Ghetto Gatsby" with Alicia Keys. Thought that song was
Mm.
fantastic. Really, really liked it. Alicia Keys sounds great. I really like the whole track as it is. It's slower down. It slows it down a little bit, but just the vocals, the production, everything. It's great because it does a lot with a little, and I really appreciate
Yes.
that when you can actually do that and pull it off, especially in a record where, example, you have "All Mine" a couple songs before, which has a lot of production, a lot of different sounds, but they still go together very well. I like that. Then you get to "Wasting Time" with Drake and the
Wait,
Neptunes,
wait,
and
really fast. I
or
just want to say, like,
oh yeah, go
the
ahead.
fact that you get like a little bit of strings here, you get the right like an interesting time where Brent Faiyaz is doing a lot of the lyrical work and like the
Hmm.
singing, and then Alicia Keys kind of does this spoken word rap thing at the end, and kind of bringing on her vocals throughout the chorus. It just creates this minimal elegance that I
Yeah,
really, really enjoy from music. So it's really a high point of the record, which then leads into Wasting Time, which we have a little bit of a disagreement on.
yeah. Which "Wasting Time," I enjoy the track up until Drake. I thought it was actually really good. Like I like the placement of it a lot, where you speed up the album a little bit because putting it after "Ghetto Gatsby" is perfect because you get that nice little trap beat in there and you get to pick it up. You start to flow again. I really like the way it sounds, but then like towards the end you get Drake's feature, and to me it just throws off the track entirely. I felt like he came in just really flat, and his voice just didn't suit this track to me at all. I like the Neptunes part; it's fine, but just Drake sounded really out of place to me, where he just pops it on there. I'm like, all right, it just doesn't fit, and it really didn't fit the record to me either. So
I can definitely
that's
see
just my
that.
opinion.
I
Yeah,
think I definitely do think of I think the way I was kind of coming at the song is that for Drake, this is one of Drake's better performances this year. Like this is the first time I've heard Drake on a Beat Force song in 2022 and not want to like grate my ears in. We really disliked Honestly Never Mind, so to speak.
oh,
When we
I
are
hate that
talking about the context of the album, I think you do have some pretty decent points there. Drake feels a little bit out of balance rap wise for what's coming in here. He's definitely one of the oddly like faster paced rappers in
yeah.
here. And so it's definitely a moment for sure. I think it works with the beat though. It's kind of like a more upbeat kind of thing. But I could definitely have done with the song or like a version of the song with just the Neptunes and Brent Faiyaz. Because I think as a Drake standalone song, it works really or like decently well. As a Brent Faiyaz song, it works really well. Together, I think that both of them do really well on the beat, but I'm not sure if it works great on this album. Or you could do maybe one of the again, maybe I'm just talking about Drake too much. You could pull a Drake and put this at the end of the album, going like, "Hey, we thought we wanted to put this with this release, but it doesn't really fit anywhere else, so let's just throw this here." Um, or you do like a part one, part two, where like here's the Drake feature at the very end, but then we'll just keep the regular one on the album. I can take any of those sides there.
Okay.
Audioface, fair,
Interesting.
balanced, and unafraid.
Unafraid. Yeah. And then the rest of the album I thought was good. It just got really long after that. After Wasting Time, you got to Rolling Stone. And then after that, it just felt like it would dragged on a bit to where I'm like, you don't need half of these little skit things and other interludes that you had at the beginning because it started to really bloat this record out. Otherwise, I enjoyed it a lot, but there's just a lot in here. You can make either a part two or a B-sides things that have different tracks that you don't necessarily need to do that. And you could put that Wasting Time, just a normal, leave it as is, but put it into a part two or put it into like a B-side record as well. And I think it would fit more along the lines of that. But
Yeah, I agree. Because, like, I think there's some good songs within here. I think Addictions
oh,
is
this
really
yeah,
nice, but. And there's a really good subject matter because the kind of backstory, not backstory to this album, but the thing behind the skits is presumably Brent Faiyaz's, but like a man's difficult relationship or distant relationship with his baby mama, who is very pregnant and carrying his baby. And he's constantly on tour. He's very distant. He's very clearly seeing other women. And it's getting to the point where, not to spoil the whole album, but like this is the review, so I guess we kind of can. So spoiler alerts ahead if you don't want to listen to the album or whatever. But essentially, it gets to this point where the woman is feeling. Wow, this is a content on the album we're doing a lot. Like video gaming herself or going home and rethinking her life. But they're at a certain place and going home and rethinking the baby's life as well. And so there's a place apparently where they relate their relationship to that Brent Faiyaz's character races in his car towards on PCH. Before he gets there, he crashes his car. And that's sort of where Angel kind of picks up into. So it ends in a really dark place. I think it's, intense
it's
subject matter, but it feels like at the end, it's almost like the skit or the story is the most compelling part of the end of that record. Like Sean was saying earlier, there could be some rearrangement or some rethinking so that these kind of moments happen in a different way. Or like happen earlier in the album or in a part one, part two kind of way. I don't know. On Audioface, we've talked about a number of different ways to release albums, a lot of different ways you shouldn't release albums with a lot of content and a lot of subject matter to do. I think we've landed on the part one, part two being the better way to do that. This is one of those times where I think a Wasteland part two, which this kind of album begs for, anyways, might have been a better approach to go with that. But that then Wasteland Part 2 is going to end up being Wasteland Part 3 in reality because this album is two albums in one without a really good middle point.
Yep, I agree. So
that being said, I think it's a quality record. There are songs in here that are really
good. It's a good record. It's just there's a lot of things there's just a lot of editing that could be done to make it a little bit more concise. Storytelling is great. There's a lot of great tracks in here. Most of the features were fantastic. So I think overall it's a good record. Just a bit drawn out.
Yeah. Arbitrary scale, blah blah rating scales, they're dumb. We chose arbitrary scales for fun. What we said was what we said. This week is going to be Fox News correspondents ripping their pants. Just this one male one by the name of Puro, Rob Puro, Tom Puro, Todd Puro. There we go. I know I get it one of these days. This is going to be. I'll give this 3 ripped pants, 1 ripped jean, because we disagreed a lot on that Drake Neptunes one. And then these are just going to be some ripped shorts where, you're just dancing too much and, you rip him too much from being a fuckboy.
Fair play. This is a pair of ripped jeans and a bummy shirt.
Solid. Very fair play.
Glad you got that.
Yeah, real Doomheads will get that. And by the way, real Doomhead should become a Syndicate 23 member, because then you'll get access to the Doom bonus episode, one of the fan favorite episodes of Audioface, where we dove into the Doom history, learned a lot of stuff in there. So definitely check that out. Join.syndicate23.co.
I mean, Audioface is where the Doom Truthers movement began, so